Okay, very happy to be joined today by a guy you know well. You've seen him everywhere in combat sports. He's now the star, and I use that word intentionally, the star of the Challenge season 41, Vets and New Threats, Ben the Main Davis. Ben, how you doing, man?
Oh, Steve, I'm fantastic, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I don't know if I can say star based off the 30 seconds of screen time I've had, but we're there.
It's coming, it's coming. I feel like we've been saying this in DMs the last couple of weeks. Like, it's gonna come. There hasn't been enough Ben yet, but then, slowly but surely it's gonna come. We saw a little bit more in episode one than we did in the preview. We saw you pulling off the
Yeah.
robot a little bit.
Yeah, man. Listen, I had to play the social game. This is what I think people figured I would do coming into this season that know me from the combat sports world. I'm going to talk out my ass, man. I'm going to weave the social web. Am I going to be the most jacked person in the world? No, but I can politic with the best of them. And in episode one, we do get a little bit of me finagling my way off the hook. It was looking bad for a moment, but ultimately everything worked out my way.
Yeah, I mean, there's you and Rogan having that chat there in the club. What happened? What's happened, man? These last couple of days have been crazy.
It's been wild. Obviously, that conversation was way back in like the second week of February, so I can't remember the specifics of that evening. But he in the beginning was saying, "Give me anybody. I'll take on whatever challenge you want to toss at me or your person." And then Izzy, of course, lets him know, "Hey, why don't you go for the weakest people?" Which was consensus, me or Justin. Now, a big reason why I didn't go in is I think because of Nani's social capital. Obviously, she's
Yeah.
attached to Bananas and has got so much history. If I didn't have Nani, I think there is a higher potential for me to have gone in. Like, I originally wanted Cara Maria, and I play this scenario out in my head. If I had Cara as my partner that week, maybe I could have been going in there. But truthfully, after seeing the elimination, like, I think I would beat Rogan just as easily as Justin did. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd have a problem with that elimination whatsoever.
Yeah, of course. I just want to do start with I don't want to bury the lead here. What was your reaction when you first saw that podcast clip from Rogan the other day?
A little bit frustrating, a little bit annoying, but at the same time, like, look, I talked a bit of shit on Rogan. Only fair that he wants to talk a bit of shit back. I think that his points directed at me had less weight than mine at him. Obviously, he cheats on his girlfriend, wants to lie about it. Listen, everybody in reality TV, they love messiness. That's one of the reasons why people love Rogan. But owning up to it is kind of half the battle. You can't cheat on your girlfriend and then cheapen out of it. And lie. But yeah, so calling me a keyboard warrior, calling me a bitch, saying that Nani's got my balls, and pray that Ben's not coming back, but if he does, pray for him. All this nonsense from somebody that's been sent home twice, and the one time he won the show, he got buoyed by CT and Jordan. You know what I mean? In a team setting, anybody can win with those two at your side. So no disrespect, but full disrespect. You haven't accomplished enough to talk that shit at me like that.
I mean, I don't not for me to talk down on like a fellow Brit here, but like 50% of his seasons he has been first boot.
Yeah, come on. And like, especially this season, you asked for the easiest challenge in the house and you got it, and then you got obliterated. Like, that's pathetic. And sure, if it was a hall brawl or something physical, I am positive that Rogan would have done well against Justin. But it's just the concept of you wanted the easiest challenge, which is kind of a bitch move in and of itself. You get it, and then yeah, like you said, per your trend, go home first. So I don't know. I mean, Rogan, I think, is searching for some relevancy because he knows that this is the last week we're ever going to be talking about him as it pertains to the challenge season 41. So sayonara. I'm still on the show this episode. We'll be in episode 2. Rogan won't be.
I mean, at least he made it to an elimination this time. He didn't like just collapse on the mountain. It's a step up.
That's true. He didn't fall apart on the Rock of Gibraltar, which, funnily about that, I think Bananas has talked about this before, because he was behind Rogan. Rogan collapses. Bananas walks by him. And Rogan asked Johnny, he's like, hey, is there anybody back there? And Johnny was like, yeah, there's 3 more people. Take your time. Don't worry. Meanwhile, there's nobody. coming up the hill. Johnny was the last one, and then Rogan gets DQ'd. So I don't know, but it's the importance of not using PEDs, kids. It's the importance of not using steroids because you need functional muscle groups, and you're not going to attain that by drug usage. So stay in school. Make sure you do a a sport that allows you to build some good aerobic muscle, and not something you need to leverage in the future of PEDs.
Like bare knuckle boxing.
Like bare knuckle. Listen, I maybe wish I would have juiced for that. It might have helped my chin. It might have assisted my durability. No, but that's the one thing I can always claim to be is natty, for better or worse.
No, you mentioned obviously Rogan was calling you a keyboard warrior, and then like I think since you put out that Do Not Resuscitate episode, which everyone should watch, it's him and Riley Osborne. Great podcast, really good stuff. Riley Osborne always like the name always pops me because there was a WWE guy called Riley Osborne until like very recently.
Oh shit, was there? No way.
Yes, there was. But I think you guys did that episode like a couple of days ago or a day ago, and then since then it kind of turned out since after Rogan calling you a keyboard warrior, he was like in the front row in Marbella watching you fight or something like that.
Yeah.
Was that the story?
So what's funny about this is he was in Marbella for my BKFC fight. Not there for me
Yeah.
specifically, but he knew Oscar, and then we, I guess, hung out later that night. I don't recall. I had just been TKO'd, and I was very drunk the rest of the evening. So, like, I don't remember meeting Rogan that night, but he did, like, mention it a ton that 4 days that he was in the house was, oh, I saw him, fighting bare knuckle boxing. He's a badass. He's this, he's that, which I appreciated, and it was very nice. And he was a nice guy to hang around. But I think that he misunderstood friendly for friends. I'm a very friendly guy. I am more than open to joking and chopping it up with everybody. That doesn't make us friends. And so, I don't know, for whatever reason, in that clip, he's like, oh, Ben, you know me more than 90% of this cast. I don't, truthfully. Like, I think that would be a lie. I don't know you at all. I spent one night with you, which I can't remember, and then I spent 4 days with you before you got booted first again. How on earth does that mean that I know you better than everybody on this cast, and therefore should be informed of whether or not you obviously cheated on your girlfriend? No, but I will say that after the filming period ends, like I did chat with him, and we were in the early steps of like maybe getting him a Misfits fight. But then I learned of all this bullshit that he's done and how he's treated his girlfriend. And I'm just like, you know what, man, I'm not interested in associating. I'm not interested in deepening relationships and becoming friends with people like that because it just doesn't really interest me. So again, like I don't know what the friendship was from his side, what connection he thinks we had, but there certainly wasn't anything as deep from my side.
Yeah, you said on your show that you had talked with him after. Was that purely him trying to get a fight?
No, it wasn't even about him trying to get it was partially that. He expressed interest. He's
Yeah.
boxed before, has a big brand. Like, he is perfect for Misfits.
Yeah.
But it was also like he was asking about, things that had happened on the show. He asked about Izzy, which I think is so funny in context. One of his first questions to me was like, how's Izzy getting on? Is she hooking up with anyone else? Is she seeing any other boys? And I was just like, why are you asking me about this? You spent a couple days with her, man. Like, I don't know. I think that love at first sight can occur. Between Rogan and Izzy, though, clearly that's maybe not what played out.
Of course, of course. Yeah, so I guess that's enough on Rogan. That's enough airtime for him. Um, yeah, so I guess we've seen 2 episodes now, if you include the preview, which I do. That was a
Yeah.
first episode to me. It was baffling to me when I saw that episode, the way that MTV had promoted it. That's just my opinion. Because I saw people who are saying like who didn't watch that one, and then they're like, "Oh, I feel like I missed so much with like the pairs."
Right. Yeah, completely. Like the episode
It
one,
confused me.
it's odd. And I get maybe a launch special or having a day zero special
Yeah.
ahead of the premiere. Like, that makes sense.
And
But
they've done it in the past, but they weren't
yeah.
important episodes in the past. There wasn't actually like important, like there wasn't a challenge in those episodes, and there was pretty much a challenge in this one.
Which was a shock to everybody. The vets were very mad that they had that mountain that they needed to walk up. But no, odd how it's maybe framed episode 0, episode 1. But you know what? Now we're cruising, baby. Now we're in the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Of course. So I guess I know I mean I'm sure you've watched fights back, interviews back, different content you've done back, but what has it been like for you watching these episodes back?
God, it's weird. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing that I've watched back. I hate seeing things that I'm in, whether it be broadcasts, whether it be interviews. Like, I don't love watching back. They're important to get better. But it's one of those things where you throw it on the TV and you're like, ah. But watching this back, like, it is kind of exciting. I do like watching this back because there's so much more that's added to it. There's the other confessionals and interviews from the challenges. There's things that I wasn't a part of that I didn't see. Like, I didn't know that on night one, after that mountain, you had Rogan and Izzy hooking up and D and Bananas hooking up. I become aware of it quite quickly, as most people did, but like, I didn't know that was happening that night. I was busy drunk downstairs playing pool. Like, I wasn't privy to it. So it's cool to watch it back with all the other sides of the square represented. But it also is also interesting because there's a lot that's not shown. You can't show everything that goes down in a 60 to 90 minute episode, and like that gives me ammunition for the DNR pod or just other fun things to talk about, because it's like, oh no, actually this also was playing along at that same time frame. And I don't know, I mean, it is cool. I like it. I did a little watch party for episode 1. A lot of family and friends came over, and it was fun, but my internet kept buffering, and so I'm trying to do this watch party, and like every 5 seconds the stream is pausing or reloading, and made me quite mad. But no, it is cool to watch this back.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they were gonna comment on you like not being there.
Oh, people were like, "Are you in this show? Did you just gather us to watch a reality TV show?" The five, like, every time I pop up on screen, everyone would be like, "Yes, there he is," which is at the moment I am a glorified cameo background actor. I think maybe there's some big moments that I provide coming up soon, but yeah, up episode 0 and 1, I don't even know if I'd get like an IMDb credit for these.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt there's big moments coming up, but like I know there's always people online who like count the confessionals as the season
Yep.
goes on. I haven't looked at any for this season yet, but I
Oh
think
boy.
it might be interesting.
I think I've got one so far. I think, which I'll say this: I don't love my confessional attire, so they were very specific with what you could wear and couldn't wear. And the first confessional outfit that I wanted to roll with was my sleeveless turtleneck. I thought the
Yeah.
sleeveless turtleneck would be perfect. It's goofy. That's more me. And because of the dark background this season, they shot it down. They were like, "You need a different outfit." And I was sitting there. I was like, "Oh, fuck, I didn't really think about that. I didn't prep a second one. So that's where the gray shirt and the flannel comes from. But it's odd because like with the Chilean UV index, it's so much higher than it is in most parts of the world because you're right next
Yeah.
to the equator, that I got sunburned so quickly. And I was applying sunscreen. I was trying to, but I'm so fucking pale. It's easy for me to sunburn. And so all of these confessional shots that I'm unfortunately realizing as I'm watching this, my nose is burnt, my forehead is cooked. So I think if I get a call back, I'm gonna bring a lot of concealer, and before any confessionals, I'm gonna just paint my face.
I mean, as you can see, I'm a pale guy as well, so I can definitely relate there. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see how red I'm getting just sitting in this hot room, and it's like midnight here, and it's too hot. I'm getting red. It's just too sweaty. It's too hot. But no. But that was one thing I did think when I was watching the episode. Like, damn, Ben's pale, and
Ben's fucking
maybe you.
cooked.
Maybe you were next to Rogan. Maybe that was why.
Yeah, there are tan, man. There is a lot of fake tan going on in this cast, specifically the UK guys. They, for whatever reason, there's like this big combination of fake tan and veneers that a lot of British people just can't get away from. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah,
guys,
yeah. That's a thing. That's a
I
thing.
don't know
Yeah.
if you guys are born with it, but
Yeah. Of course. So yeah, you mentioned the UK guys. That obviously a lot of the focus early has been on this UK alliance, and it
yeah.
feels like maybe three. There's been like 3 or 4 different seasons when there's been a whole group of UK guys. So it's like the immediate storyline is, oh, Bananas and these guys want to get out the UK alliance. How early getting in the house did those conversations start?
Immediately,
Yeah.
even before the season had really begun. Like when we were in the hotel, we were kind of clocking because like there were periods where we'd have to go do those photo shoots and we'd be around some of the new threads. We didn't get any chance to see the vets before that mountain, but you know, me, Jeremy, and Gabe had sort of clocked. Oh, okay, so there's some UK representation here. And then night one, I remember me, Jeremy, Gabe sort of talking as well. And we're like, a lot of UK representation on the vet side too. And, you know, you see it very early on. Izzy is quite game focused right off the rip
Yeah.
and going up to Olivia, trying to create this bond there. And that solidifies it. That kind of solidified that creation of the UK alliance in this season because of the butterfly effect. Then you get Adrienne, you get Tay, who's Australian, not UK, but lump her in there. Rogan, of course, Theo, Jake. Like it was obvious what was forming. And I don't think anyone in the house really loved it. Johnny inflated it a bit. I think if Johnny had played it more cool, then you know, who knows what could have happened, but I do think that he went, as Rogan said on the podcasts, John went a bit paranoid too early.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you mentioned Izzy there. Just as someone just watching the episodes and the stuff we're shown, obviously there's a lot more. She of the new threat, she seems like one that was like immediately switched onto the game.
Yeah, she dialed in right from the get go. Jeremy was another one that was a huge fan of the challenge, had really prepped and studied, and came in with a game plan. You know, Gabe was also a massive fan of the challenge ahead of the season. I don't know if his game plan was as good as some of the other people's that had come in.
Yeah, he might have
um,
he might have been on the episodes about the same amount as you so far.
Yeah, there's a couple people that just haven't gotten their airtime. That's okay. You know, I think everyone gets their shake. But it did kind of surprise me, like the speed at which things picked up because I don't have reality TV experience, which is kind of
Yeah.
rare for the challenge. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to like acclimate to this environment of cameras and boom mics being in your face and always having a microphone on. And, you know, then it's like the game is, dude, right off the bat getting going. And like my name was being tossed around. I heard my name at that night out, heard my name the morning of the nomination. So I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I'm just trying to adjust and get into this world, and already I'm being targeted. It's getting harder, you know. So it was certainly a baptism by fire because people they didn't come to play around this season. There were people that came in with the game front and center of their minds, and you know, no vacations in the challenge season 41.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because obviously you say no reality TV experience.
Mm-hmm.
The show was originally just real world road rules. It's been the last few years when they've brought in a ton more shows from all over the world. But it's still very rare that people come on with no experience. I mean, yourself and Gabe, you might be the only two
Yeah.
this year. Yeah. So what did that casting process look like for you?
It was an odd one. I don't think it was necessarily traditional, whether that be like the scouting that they do or the recruitment process that there is. I worked a show with a director in March last year and hit it off. He's done a lot of stuff in reality TV in Hollywood. I'm on the phone with him like 2 weeks after we worked together, and I just sort of asked him like, okay, well, which like how do people get into this world? You know what I mean? And he was like, well, which one would you want to go on? And I don't really watch reality TV. That's kind of the funny thing about how this all has come together. But I'd seen a season of the challenge. I saw Rivals 2, season 24 a couple years ago, and was like, okay. During this conversation, that popped into my mind, so I just was like, yeah, the challenge seems great. And he's like, oh, no way. Like, I know the casting director. I'll give her a call and see where they're at in their process. And then the casting director reaches out a couple months later. I'd forgotten about this conversation at that point. It's probably middle of the year. And she's like, hey, so I hear you're a huge fan of the challenge. And I was like, all right, well, I can become one, you know, or I'll let you think that at this pose in the moment. And had a great first meeting with her, and then it was like sending in an audition video and then doing the psych eval, physical eval, flew out for some medical treatments, and then middle of December they were like, okay, hey, you're officially on the season. You're gonna head down February 10th. So it was a weird, like almost 10-month long process where it was kind of in the background of a lot of what I was doing last year. and didn't fully think that it was actually going to happen. Like every time I talked to the casting director, I thought she was going to be like, yeah, so we decided to go in a different direction. Yeah, we wanted somebody that's more, accustomed to reality TV or has a bigger audience. So when they were like, yeah, you're cast, I was like, oh, fuck. Damn, well, now I gotta go do it.
Yeah. Was there a point in that process where you're kind of thinking, this might actually happen, or was it not until that moment when they told you?
It was like October, I think, when they mentioned the rate. And okay, so you'll be getting paid this, and that. And so I was sort of thinking, okay, well, if they're talking about payment, then that's
It's pretty
probably
serious. It's
advanced
pretty
at it. Yeah,
serious.
exactly. It's pretty serious. But like I watched obviously season 40. I watched season 39 in the lead up to going on this show, and a couple of the challenges that they had, the dailies, I was looking at it and I was just like, oh my fucking god, dude, what have I gotten myself into? And this season is as on par, if not more brutal than those ones. So it was tough. It was a, a tough one to come into.
Yeah. And like these first two challenges you've done, they're like total like staple challenges. Like the
Yeah.
running in the pit, scrapping with people to get the balls, and then obviously just a run up a massive mountain. They're like total challenge staples.
Yeah.
So yeah, that must have been pretty fun to get into ones like that early on.
It was good. I think that Nani was an excellent partner in that first daily
Yeah.
challenge. Like her and I worked together so well, and my main focus was, as it is for most of this season, is really just be the best partner I can be. I want to be able to provide for whoever I'm attached to in these dailies, and even if they're not somebody that I'm like in an alliance with or working with, I still would make sure to let them know, like, hey, I'm going to give you everything I have. I know that maybe we're working against each other, but at the end of the day, it's in our best interest to do the best we can with these performance points on the line, with obviously, saving a team from elimination or sending them in. You need to do the best you can. And so I was like, I'm never going to tank you. That's not how I would play. I know some people in the past have tanked their teams or tanked their partners, but I couldn't do that to somebody.
No, of course. And you mentioned there, Nani. She's obviously someone that's been on the show for so long, but she doesn't have the wins of someone like, an Ashley Mitchell, where
Yeah,
maybe she's going to be an immediate threat. But I mean, she is so well connected with Bananas and those guys that, I mean, did you feel a bit of protection from that
I
immediately?
did.
Obviously, this is before you knew that you would be switching each week.
Yeah, so I mean, and I thought that I would be with her the entire season, and
Yeah,
so like I
which
very
would have been
quickly,
great.
which would have been fantastic. I think Nani and I would have done pretty well in a lot of these upcoming challenges. And I feel stupid because I gave her like the full game plan that I had. I gave her my assessment on everybody, all the things that I'd heard around the house, all these other things, like right off the rip, just because I incorrectly assumed what the format would be. And so when we switched partners, like in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, oh no, like I gave her the whole playbook, dude, and now she's not attached to me anymore. That's tough. But yeah, no, she was great, and I would love to do another season with her.
Yeah, I mean, Nani's a great partner. I think the last time she was partnered with like a guy was Turbo. You and
Mm.
Turbo, very different personalities.
So different.
She was having to rein him in a lot of times during that season, and I guess there were so many big personalities. Turbo is one, but obviously someone like Bananas, Ashley
Yeah,
Mitchell, and then on the rookies you have Blue, who I loved Blue on Big Brother, so I was
yeah.
very stoked to see her on the season, and Sydney as well. What is it like for you, who you're just kind of like a chill guy, to be around those big personalities 24/7?
It's funny, dude. It's fucking hilarious. Like these people just don't have off buttons. Blue is as advertised. She is the kitty
Yeah,
kitty purr through and through. The
boots
one new
down.
threat. Literally, yeah, boots. She's boots down all the time, man. I loved it. Her wardrobe was fucking hilarious. It was like more suitcases than anybody else in the house. The most eccentric, dresses and whatnot. I loved it. I loved everything Blue Kim related. But the one new threat that I don't know if has gotten a ton of screen time, but was killing everybody in the house was Will. Will is the most insane fucking person I've ever met. Like hours and hours every night about his like either sexual exploits or crazy things he's done. Like very quickly, he was like, "Yeah, I went to this orgy and did all these things," and I was just like, "What the fuck?" So it was funny in the sense of like absorbing and just seeing all of these random personalities combined into a melting pot. But was a little tricky because I was like, well, where do I fit into all this? I don't want to be wallpaper for the entirety of this show, right? So finding my own avenues was interesting given the size of everybody's personality. But it was funny. I mean, there was always something going on, always somebody talking bullshit, which was fun to be around.
Yeah, of course. If hypothetically you race up and down that mountain, you beat Jeremy, who are you picking?
I picked Kara. I think. Well, it's tricky because I guess if I beat Jeremy, then I wouldn't have the experience of running up and down with Kara. Um, but I think that she's a 2-time winner, a 9-time finalist. Like, what more could you ask for than a girl in Cara Maria? I think that her social game is it's in a tricky spot. She's got some bad relationships with people in this house, and that could obviously be a concern. But the strengths she brings as a player, the connection that her and I formed as the season continued, was great, man. I think that she is inside the challenge house, perfect person to be with.
Was you mentioned Cara there? Was there like a Instagram thing between you two before or after? Because I seem to remember that going around on social media a little bit. What happened there?
There was a Twitter um, reply that I'd made to
Yeah.
a post about her. So obviously, right before filming, she gets into some controversy for cutting off. I believe it was the like TQ plus part of LGBTQ plus, just cuts the acronym in half. And her response and justification was like, I don't represent that, and that doesn't represent me. And she even asked like Grok, I think, or fucking ChatGPT to back her answer and thought process, which of course it will. It's a language learning model. That's what they do, is reinforce. But I did offer up on social media. It's just odd to not use the full acronym. I think the community is hinged on inclusivity and supporting one another, and there's a lot of similar struggles that people in the LGBTQ plus realm have gone through, and discrimination in a lot of ways. So I don't understand why cutting off half the acronym is the stance she wants to take. And that's kind of like how I feel with a good amount of Kara's beliefs out. That's why I specified inside the challenge house, she's
Yeah.
perfect. Outside of it, I do think her and I disagree on a lot of different topics. But at the same time, I'm never one to like minimize somebody to one belief or another. I think that she does mean well, has good intentions, and is been through a good amount of shit. And while I disagree with her on some topics, some big topics, she's, in my estimation, still a decent human being. So can't be too mad. But yeah, there was a little bit of a blip before we left for filming, which had some fans thinking that I was going to go in there and like bounce her, which wasn't really my game plan. I like why would I do that?
Did that come up between you at all in the house? I mean, if you don't want
So
to go into it, it's fine. But did that come
we
up?
do talk. Well, I don't know if they're gonna show it. We had one conversation on camera about like my sexuality, and I can't remember the specifics on how that chat went. And then there was one like brief political conversation that popped up, which was shut down very quickly. It was like me, Jeremy, I think Izzy, Derek Chavez was there. I want to say Cedric was there. It was like a weird group of people, and somehow Trump had been brought up, and Cara was like, "Yeah, well, he's doing this good thing and that good thing," and I was drunk, and I was just like, "You need to stop. You are spreading ignorant bullshit, and it's not true whatsoever." And then the conversation ended very awkwardly.
When you say shut down, was that production?
No, that was me. I was literally, I was like, we need to move on to a different topic because this is stupid, and it doesn't benefit anybody. Like they literally, one of the things, they give you this big handbook on like do's and don'ts, things that they suggest you maybe stay away from, and like religion and politics is the top one. And I am very respectful of everybody's beliefs, what they choose to subscribe to, but I do see how like this isn't the environment to just go over those topics. Maybe, you know what I mean. It's maybe not the best place for it.
Who are some of the you mentioned a few people there, obviously. Who are some of the people that you were closest to and that you maybe kept in touch with after the show?
I've kept in touch with a good amount of people. So I knew Jake coming into the
Yeah.
season, and it was very fun to just get to be around him in a greater, more informal capacity. Like when he fought at X Series 17, I really didn't interact with him that much in Dublin. You know, he was taking on a guy in Mike Edwards. I was focused on the rest of the card. I remembered him being very nice to production and everybody at the Misfits crew, but just didn't chat with him that much. And so getting to know him on a deeper level was awesome. He's a really, really nice guy, damn good boxer. But I would say a couple people that I really gravitated towards. Jeremy was my rock in that house. He was hilarious. I think we understood each other right off the get go. I loved his mentality. I mean, that guy again. A lot of the new threats, the male rookies are Marines, Army. You know, Jeremy has that background as well, and he's just got a warrior's mindset. And I think that a couple of conversations that we had were about that first day's performance where he puts this huge target on his back, and he for the first like week or two was like, dude, I kind of fucked up doing that. Thankfully, like so much happens in the house that, you know, the crosshairs get off of him, you know, but he was definitely in the beginning of the season going, how can I live up to that expectation that I set on that mountain? And you know, he constantly was a warrior, and I would say did a pretty good job of it. So Jeremy for sure. Ashley Mitchell was somebody that I got close with. She's insane, you know, she is a
Yeah.
fireball. But like what I think I liked about her was the authenticity. Like you knew what you were getting. She doesn't really play too many deceptive games. Like it's a bit genuine, which was nice. Nani for sure. Derek Chavez, I've hung out with him since being back from filming. You know, we've gone to some workout classes together. We've gotten some brunch together here in Phoenix. But a good amount of them. Like I think I'm on pretty good terms with like all but I suppose 2 or 3 of the cast.
I'm not going to ask you who. I know Derek Kaczynski is a big fight fan. Did you have conversations with him about fights at all?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, I didn't realize how many combat sports fans would be on this season or were in the house. Johnny Bananas is a big fight fan too, and so
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun discussions. They're more, you know, they're more fair weather fans. They watch big
Yeah.
fights, but maybe don't have that historical knowledge. So it was funny, like having hypothetical debates where they would be like, "Oh, this fighter would steamroll this person," and I'd be like, no, not at all. But it was cool. Like Johnny brought his boxing gloves and his mitts, and so what we would do is like I'd hold pads for everybody. So hold pads for Johnny, Jake, Tay, Theo. That was really cool. I think like the team building elements that happen within the house. Even again across the social political game of it, just everybody having a good time was really special.
Of course, of course. Um, yeah. I mean, this is Violet Money, so we should talk about some fights. As much as I
Sure.
could talk about as much as I could talk about the challenge all day with you. Um, we've got a big fight in Misfits coming up in a few weeks. Luke Rockhold, Darren Till. Are you going to be over in Manchester for this one?
Yes, I'm very excited to be calling this fight. Luke Rockhold's somebody that I've asked for Misfits to try and incorporate
Yeah.
for some time now, like most of 2024. And the fact that it's against a big star of ours, a guy who has carved such a great legacy in combat sports, specifically in the UK, and Darren Till, it's great. I mean, I don't know how this main event is going to play out. I favor Till because of the experience, rounds, but you know, let's not pretend that Darren the Dentist Stewart and Anthony Taylor are cut from the same caliber that Luke Rockhold was. Rockhold was the champ, best in the world, and that's an accolade that neither of Till's previous opponents can claim. So while you know Rockhold's stepping into some unfamiliar territory, he just won in Karate Combat last year, got a big knockout. And I think has taken a good amount of time off to explore what he really wants, and at this point in time, it's beating the shit out of Darren Till.
Yeah, it got pretty heated, didn't it, when it first got announced when they had the face off. It got pretty heated.
Yeah, I think it's going to get more heated. I don't think this card is one that's going to stop in terms of bad blood. I mean, you got Chase Demore, who's always causing problems. You've got Amadeus Ferrari and Nathan Marcone, who are those are jokesters. They are going to be ruining whatever seriousness people want to apply to this. They're going to be having fun with it. And then Dylan Dennis. Like I think many people in Misfits dislike him, for pretty justified reasons. But when he shows up, people are talking. So outside of that Till and Rockhold beef that could be forming, this card is just full of characters who I think are going to make the fight week just as worth watching as the fight night itself.
Luke Rockhold, Dylan Dennis, Tony Ferguson. Has
Mm.
anyone benefited from the demise of GFL more than Misfits?
God, yeah, Darren Owens is just clutching his pearls from wherever he's at, seeing all of our our talent that we've scraped off of him. No, I mean, listen, Tony is, and that's what makes Tony kind of interesting at this moment is he was in fight camp, he was preparing for a
Yeah.
bout with Dylan Dennis. It's not like he's coming completely off the shelf, and he has a big edge experience wise over Saul Poppy. I get the criticism, 8-fight losing streak, 42 years old. That's valid. But I think that it's going to be more competitive than people think. And Salt, his last couple wins, it's not like they really stack up. With full respect to King Kenny and Amadeus Ferrari, those guys aren't Tony Ferguson. And
Of course.
if you're a Tony Ferguson who doesn't have to worry about the grappling, which has been his demise in his last 3 out of 4 losses or whatever, I think I think it's more compelling than people want to make it seem.
I'm fascinated by this fight, and not just
Yeah.
because Tony Ferguson versus Salt Pappy is just so insane, but like, I mean, it can show the level of Misfits, the
Yeah.
influences. Because like, I mean, obviously Tony's been on the slide. We all know that. We all know he's not the same Tony that went on that historic win streak. But I mean, he's still, you'd think, a very legit fighter against a guy who, no disrespect to Salt Pappy, he's absolutely one of the top influences out there in the boxing realm. He's compared to Tony, he's a novice.
Yeah,
You would
I would
think.
agree with that completely. Like when it comes to fighting, Saul Poppy lacks a big amount of experience, and it wasn't that long ago that Saul Poppy got knocked out by Slim and got decisioned
Yeah.
by Anthony Taylor. It's not like this guy is a wrecking machine who's leaving everybody dead in the first round and has never tasted defeat. Like we know what can beat Saul Poppy. The question is, has Tony seen that and has his team and coaches engineered a game plan around it? I think if Tony walks in here like a dumbass, he will get slept. But if Tony leverages what makes him special, which is operating in the phone booth, making Saul Poppy uncomfortable with the clinch, pressuring him, right, being a blanket on top of him, there are ways to win, and that'll be the big test for Saul Poppy. Have you improved in the areas that that have led to losses in the past? I guess we'll find out.
It depends how motivated Tony is. I'm sure you've seen MMA
Mm-hmm.
fighters who have a profile, have a skill in MMA, in boxing, step into the influencer world and just think they can steamroll everyone because they're an experienced fighter. I mean, the more influencer boxing grows, the less that's going to be able to be the case.
Especially, yeah, at the higher level. I mean, there is a skill gap that's been closed. I think you put Dean the Great against, a good amount of mixed martial arts talent. Dean probably beats him. I think that a guy in Anthony Taylor boxing versus some regional MMA guys or lower level UFC guys, I think Anthony could beat him. So I agree that there is I don't know, a growing overlap of talent, and maybe
Yeah.
we're ripping a lot of these former UFC, former MMA guys and incorporating them to our roster. But, when these guys dedicate 6, 7 years to boxing, shockingly enough, they get better, and I think that's only going to get more pronounced.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, obviously, we've got Down and Luke in the main event. Their resumes speak for themselves. Tony as well. It feels like, this is a card where Misfits, maybe consciously, maybe not consciously, they're trying to legitimize themselves,
Mm-hmm.
especially to MMA fan base who maybe had seen it as a bit of a joke before. Do you think that's something that can be done with fights like this? Or do you think the MMA fan base would still be like, oh, it's just influencer boxing, no one really cares?
They'll always be like that. They'll always have the negativity. But I think if we try and service them to a different degree, then at some point, hopefully, they quit bitching, right? A fight like Till and Rockhold that appeals to every combat sports fan, and you don't see other promotions interested in trying to put these types of matchups together. So, like, yes, we have a healthy amount of funny matchups, influencers who haven't fought before, the stipulation fights, the tag team boxing, and all this, but there are pretty elite bouts that we have on here. Ty Mitchell and Sean Hemphill. Sean is top 15 IBF fighter, so it's like that is a legit ass fight. And the diversity of our cards relative to a Queen's Room or Matchroom Queensberry Golden Boy, like they're only offering you one thing. They're giving you chicken breast, and we're giving you chicken breast plus steak plus tortillas plus corn. Like there's just I would say a greater combat sports offering that Misfits taps into, and I think once people get past the bridge of the sometimes the lunacy of it, then they'll be able to appreciate it a bit better.
Yeah, you mentioned Ty Mitchell there, so it just made me think. Ty Mitchell, obviously, Idris Virgo was on the challenge before. Did you ever
Yeah.
get the chance to? Did you get the chance to talk to him about the challenge?
So I think I reached out to Idris and asked him, like, hey, what was the challenge experience like? And funnily enough, we had two more former Misfits guys. Kels was on the challenge, and Callum Izzard was on the challenge.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I reached out to all three. Kels never got back to me. Idris gave me terrible advice, and then Callum he sent me a voice note back, like clearly at a club, at some dance club, and he's like, yeah man, I'll get back to you, no worries. Yeah, and then he just never got back to me. But it was funny because I get in there and I do talk about Idris Virgo to some of the people that did War of the Worlds with him, Theo, and so I think Rogan was there as well and met him. They all fucking hate Idris. They think he is the dumbest person ever, and some of the things they told me he did is just, I mean, it's quite Idris Virgo. But yeah, there was discussion about Idris in the Challenge 41 household, and none of it was good.
Yeah, he is a fascinating character.
I've never met somebody that exists quite in their own reality like Idris Virgo. Like he adds 1 + 1 and he gets 3. I don't know how to reason with him sometimes. I can't tell if he's joking sometimes. That's what sucked is for the longest time I thought it was a bit. I thought he was just like playing a bit of a character, and then he's just not. And you're like, well, this is tough, man. But best of luck to him. He'll be back, man. He's a good fighter, and I think he'll be back on Misfits soon.
Of course. Obviously, Misfits, a big part of the Bane universe. We've seen you in bare knuckle, we've seen you in grappling, we've seen you in karate combat. Now the challenge. It's an obvious question, but where might we see the Bane pop up next?
I don't know. The world must wait until we see. I've been trying to finagle my way into the Olympics in their on-air rotation. I don't know for what sport or for who, but that's a big box I'd love to check. As it pertains to like reality TV, man, like I would love to do a Survivor or like a Big Brother next. I think those would be awesome opportunities, if not another challenge season. But we'll see. I mean, like with everything, I am just lucky enough to find myself flipping these stones over and trying to take advantage of it to the best of my ability. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but all times I promise to try and entertain as best I can.
Yeah, Challenge 42. Sign him up.
Let's go. The return, baby.
No,
The return. Me and Rogan,
no
let's
matter.
book it.
I was gonna say no matter what Rogan might think.
I mean, listen, he's been called back twice in the last 6 years, so if anyone needs prayers, it might be him.
He's saying you can't get a call back. Nice to bookend this interview with a bit of Rogan hate, but like he's he died on a mountain and got a call back. So I mean, if he's getting a call back, anyone can get a call back.
That's very true. The bar is low.
So like, yeah, it would absolutely not shock me to see Ben the Main Davis back on the challenge. Season 42, season 43, season 44, and whenever it fits around your fighting schedule, of course.
I don't know, man. I might be retired. I just had a session with BJ Flores today, and we've been working for a couple months now. I feel great. I feel way stronger, way more competent and technical than I've ever felt before. But I just don't have this big urge. I don't have this big itch to go compete. If the money's right and the opponent's right and the opportunity comes at the right time, then sure. But man, last thing I want to do right now is take shots to the face.
So no more journalists or sons of legends to call out.
I think I've made my way through them. I think I've taken them all on. Maybe Kimbo Slice's kid. I know Kimbo Slice Jr. Is a okay competitor. Who knows? Maybe we'll set that up.
He had a like a legit Bellator career for a while.
Yeah, and then he got stopped by OJ Rose on a Misfits card, I think. Or no, I think it was before Misfits. So who knows what he's up to?
Yeah. Um, I do a bit of a quick fire segment with the fighters I interview, so I'm just gonna run through some quick fire stuff with you. Favorite food?
Favorite food. I am a huge fan of flank steak. We'll keep it we'll keep it bland.
Okay. The fighters always love that one when they're in camp.
Yeah, well, I'm on a juice cleanse right now,
Oh,
so I have not eaten all day today.
no, I was interviewing a guy last night who he's on the first week of the Contender Series, so
Oh
like
shit!
way in the weeds at this point. And I ask him favorite food, and then he's like, I ask him favorite food, and then I'm like, oh fuck,
Oh
what did I
no,
do that
yeah.
for?
Now he's salivating.
Yeah, yeah. So Radley De Silva, I apologize. Yeah, this might answer the next one though. Favorite drink?
Favorite drink? Ooh, I love Dr
Oh,
Pepper.
what? Yeah, what do we got in that bottle there?
So this is daily citrus. It's got coconut water. It's got cucumber, pineapple, coconut, lemon, aloe. This is my second to last juice that I have today. It's I think like 6 juices a day, and I'm on the fifth one, and I don't love this one. This might be one of the worst tasting ones.
I was gonna say getting in that Rogan shape for the next season of the challenge, but you might need a bit more than that juice. Maybe a different kind of juice.
I was gonna say, yeah, this would be the opposite. This is anti Rogan shape.
What's your go-to breakfast?
Go to breakfast. I am a big fan of just keeping it light, like a protein shake in the morning. Um, Not a huge breakfast guy. I'm not a big morning guy, to be honest with you. I fucking hate mornings. But breakfast, if I have to do it, either protein shake or if I'm feeling like if I'm feeling a little bit relaxed, maybe I'll do a little bowl of cereal.
What's the go-to cereal then? What's the cereal?
What's the cereal? Ranges, man. I was on this. It's like it's one of the Special K. I think it's like the chocolate Special K cereal. I was like, this feels healthy, but also feels unhealthy at the same time, which is right where I want to be.
Of course. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Ooh, I was just thinking about this earlier today. I think Inception. At the moment, Inception is in that top spot. I just think it's a really interesting picture. Maybe Inception or Interstellar. I think those would be the two top ones.
Favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? Oh fuck, that's a good one. That's a hard question, man. We'll go Breaking Bad. I think I've seen Breaking Bad twice all the way through. Once with my family, once with just me, and I think that's my top spot. Could change right depending on the day, but I guess Breaking Bad.
Favorite musician?
Favorite musician? I at the moment I was listening to a lot of Chapel Roan the last couple months, and now I'm back on my Justin Bieber kick. So one of those two, which probably is not the answer that many would expect, but I have terrible music taste.
It's also not the answer I often get when I'm interviewing MMA fighters.
Oh yeah, probably not. I mean, if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said Taylor Swift. So I do not have the music interests of a fighter.
Yes, of course. Favorite sport other than combat sports?
Favorite sport other than combat sports? I'm a big basketball guy. I think basketball is really cool. I don't know much about it in terms of like the players and their stats and all these other things, but visually, I think it's dynamic. I think that the rule set is super simple and easy to keep up with. I think bowling is a lot cooler than people make it out to be. I commentated pro bowling all of last year and was kind of surprised at how interesting and high intense some of those moments could be on the bowling lanes. So we'll go basketball and bowling.
Of course, of course. Favorite fight?
Ooh, favorite fight all time. Um, that's a tricky one. I always love giving a shout to my guy Billy Quarantillo. I'll go Billy Quarantillo and Kyle Nelson. Unfortunately, it was at the Apex, but it was a big third round TKO for my guy Billy Q. So we'll give that favorite fight all time.
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember that one. Billy
Yeah,
Q's the man.
he's great, dude. He's awesome.
Yeah. Um, favorite fighter.
We'll keep it with Billy Q. We'll keep my good
Billy
friend Billy
Q.
Q. It's
Yeah.
easy, man. Unfortunately, every time I've been to his fights, he's lost. So I need to stop going to support him in person. But he's great, man. I trained with him. I've known him for about 4 years now. I trained with him ahead of my Misfits fight, and he is just a consummate professional, super nice fucking guy. Everything that you want in a fighter.
Yeah. Been a while since we've seen him, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean he's getting up there in age. He I think just had a kid not too long ago, so his priorities have been drifting in different directions. Just opened a
Yeah.
gym, but we'll see him back. I think he said he wants to fight in October.
Perfect. Yeah. Um, what is maybe not the one to ask you since your expertise is bare knuckle boxing and karate combat, but I know you've done some grappling, so this is a question I always ask the fighters. What is your favorite submission to practice?
Favorite submission practice? I mean, the answer truthfully would be none. I haven't done any submission grappling or BJJ in many years, but I really liked the guillotine. I liked working on that. I would do this bullshit like snap down guillotine whenever I would be rolling with guys. Only worked against shitty BJJ practitioners, but that was my go-to. And then from there, if it failed, I'd try and go up for a triangle. But yeah, we'll go with the gilly.
Of course, of course. Um, funniest person you've met in combat sports?
Funniest person I've met in combat sports. Dude, you know what? I mean, maybe this is a cliche answer, but like Oscar Willis is hilarious. He is such a funny fucking guy. I literally have a hard time keeping up conversationally with him because he is just rapid fire joke after joke. John Morgan's also hilarious. John is a super super funny guy. So we'll give the MMA media, the MMA journalists, some love on that one.
Funniest person you've met in the challenge, but I think you already answered that. Will, right?
Will's quite funny. Yermy has me cracking up all the time. Tay's really funny too. That's another person we haven't seen too much of, but Tay is hilarious, the sweetest person. So there's a couple good jokers in the this cast.
Just finally, best piece of advice you've been given.
Best piece of advice I've been given. I this isn't one that I was given necessarily in the last couple of years, but it's something that I've believed since high school, which was just make the most of it. Take every opportunity that you have and maximize it to the best of your ability, whether it's an interview, whether it's a broadcast, whether it's, an assignment. Just apply yourself 110%. I think that in life, most people will half-ass things or, just not put in the required effort and then be shocked when they don't have a full result. If you put in half the effort, you're going to get half the result, and then you're going to get half the, payout and return, whether that be career-wise or otherwise. So I don't know. Always make the most of it. Always try and flip over as many stones, and don't give up.
That's perfect. I mean, that's perfect because you are certainly someone that has done that.
Yeah,
You
and
can also,
dude, I could have given up so many times. The amount of like jobs I was fired from, the amount of gigs I've lost here and there. This is my third Twitter account. The first two got suspended for dumbass reasons. Like so many instances where you could just be like, all right, I'm gonna give up. This isn't working for me. But again, it's. I hate to use that meme of the guy with the pickaxe and he's chipping away and there's the diamonds in front of him and the other guy turns around
yeah.
an inch away from it. It's kind of like that in a sense, you just got to keep gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, thanks for coming on, man. Very much appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I was very stoked when I saw you were going to be on the challenge since MMA media, MMA Twitter. This is a big part of my life, and the challenge, as you can see, also like a show I've been watching for I don't know, like a decade. So
Yeah.
it's just
I
cool to see
appreciate
the
you,
worlds
brother.
collide like that.
Hey, it overlaps, man. And again, we're gonna get that 42 call back. We're gonna get that 43 call back. We're gonna make this
Yeah,
a career, man.
we got the the next Johnny Bananas over here.
Oh, jeez. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. Thank you, Ben. Take care.